Hi guys, welcome back. I missed you guys. Hope everybody's been doing okay. As you guys can see by the title, I'm going to be doing a quick update on the TAMLA HORSFORD case. I'm basically going to be channeling some messages from her. Well, most of them are already channeled because she came through like around 6-ish in the morning, right? So I wrote down some of it so I wouldn't forget. But yeah, I'm just going to give you guys a quick update on that. And then let's just start with that first. Let's start with the information from her, and then we'll just, if anything else comes up, if I have any new updates for you guys, I'll be happy to share that with you guys, okay? All right, so, okay, let me let that car pass by. Sounds like a monster truck. Okay. All right, so a quick update, because she came in, like I said, today, super early in the morning, because usually early, I'm up around 5-ish in the mornings. I do prayer and meditation, and after that I'm available for doing readings, or usually I'll just sit quietly, sit still with the energy of the divine God, and just sort of get my head space ready for the day. So she came in and I was like, I'm happy to put those messages out there if you have new messages, and I know you guys have been asking, commenting, asking for updates. But the thing is, with people who have passed on, they have to come through themselves. Me personally, I don't know if someone else does this. I don't summon the deceased. I don't do summonings. I don't do I don't know what's the other word for it. Like when people do seances and try to pull somebody in and talk to them, I don't do that. Now, if you want to come in and you got messages and you got something to say, I'm more than happy to, relay that message and help any way I can. Because at the end of the day, that's all these readings are. They're done with the purpose of helping. They're done with the purpose of giving the person on the other side a voice. Okay. So when she came in basically wanting to sort of give a quick update of, because she could see a lot more than we can from this side, right? She came in with the energy of wanting to give a quick update on a couple of things, on concerning her case, concerning her getting justice. She basically said that there is a man that's looking at her case right now. She was showing me that he's whoever this is has to be well connected, or because they have like documents. They have the autopsy report. They have a lot of information that I feel like wouldn't be accessible to everybody, or everybody wouldn't have access to it, so to speak, right? But this man is looking at statements that were given. He's looking into the bits and pieces of like the bits and pieces that don't make sense in the statements. He's also looking at the parts that can actually be challenged in court, right? Because don't get me wrong, a lot of information, a lot of how do I say this correctly? There's a lot of information and a lot of like things listed about this case. But some of them would be thrown out in court. Some of it would not be enough to take it to, making it a case in court, making it a winnable case. So he's basically dissecting. I'm looking at like somebody that's like literally looking through the file, word by word, every single little detail, and trying to get everything and every bit and every piece that can actually be used to get the case reopened up, if that makes sense, right? That's not to say that she's saying that he's dismissing the case in any way, but he's actually looking for something that can be concretely used, something that can actually hold weight if it were to be reopened, because the intention is to reopen it and win it, not just reopen it and hope for the best, right? So this man has been looking at it like every little bit, and this is a man, I'm being told, that has a lot of power. Most of his power comes in the form of influence, right? And he has the power to get this case reopened, is what I'm being told, okay? but he's not going to take action until he has everything he feels he needs that would be admissible, right? Admissible, concrete proof, right? Because there's undeniable proof that there was foul play here, but it has to be admissible in court. It has to be admissible in order to be used by, the authorities, right? In order to be reopened. Okay, and he is getting close, is what I'm hearing. He's like, got chills on the side of my head. He's getting really close. So he's not only does he have connections, because I'm seeing lawyers also, and I'm seeing this, I don't know who this is. She's not I feel like I know who this is, but for some reason she's not. The information is not wanting to come out, and usually when I'm blocked from seeing someone, it's because it's protection, right? Either she's trying to protect this person who's going to help her, who's still here on earth, so they don't hound him, so they don't, because people do that, believe it or not. Right, so that's the first update, right, guys? And then the second one she's saying is that, and I feel like this is her own words more so than anything. It's not just her talking about the case or anything like that. And I couldn't really make sense because she sort of gave me a quote, but it didn't sound like a quote. It sounded like a proverb. So I was trying to make sense of it, and when I kept repeating it to myself, I was like, "This, I don't understand. Can you explain?" And the way it was explained to me is that it's basically a proverb that you and I wouldn't necessarily understand, because I'm being told it's used in a different region of the world, right? Or not it's not used in the Western, right? It's not. It's like an old saying. Also, I'm being told it would be used by maybe a grandparent or the old heads, the wise people in the community, but something like that. If I were to say it, it wouldn't make sense really, right? So I asked her again, can you explain it or give me an analogy or give me something close that people would understand, since this does have to do something with the case, because I'm assuming it has something to do with the case if she's bringing it up, right? Because that's what she wanted to talk about, the case. And she brought up chickens, which was really random. But she said that the best way she could explain the proverb was to explain the way chickens work. Like chickens when they're out, well, not out, but let's say you own a chicken farm, right? And let's say you put them in a tiny little chicken coop or a tiny little house, and they're all squished in there. First of all, chickens need to roam. They need space. They need to be able to feel free. I didn't know this, but apparently they do. So whenever they're cramped up in a space with each other, whenever they feel the slightest discomfort, the slightest unease, they sort of start turning against each other. It's almost like a certain part of the brain, the chicken's brain, can't really function correctly anymore. So they start going at each other. They start pecking at each other. Some of them will even cause bodily harm to each other. They'll turn on each other super quick. So I asked, I was like, okay, so what does this have to do with anything? And she literally pointed out at her, the people that took her out of this world, the people that, unalived her. I have to use that word because YouTube will shadow ban stuff. But yeah, the people that, took her life, basically. And she's pointing at them, and she's like, there is I'm being told, well, there's one or two. There's definitely one, but there's a potential two that if the right amount of pressure, if and when shit goes down, they're going to turn on each other. I'm hearing turncoat, right? That's the energy of once it gets down to the nitty gritty and this case gets reopened and the right amount of pressure gets applied, they're going to start turning on each other. And, they could sit up here, because I know they do follow up with some of these videos. They'll come out here, and one of them actually trolled and actually, got on the previous video that I did on her and actually gave away the drug that they put in her system, right? And I was just, baffled by that. But anyway, back to the point. when it comes down to it, they'll sit there and they'll be like, oh no, we'll never turn on each other. We'll never say anything. Like, this will never go anywhere. Once it gets down to the part of survival, and that's what it's going to get down to, because there's going to be so much pressure and there's going to be real consequences, real jail time, real serious possible certain sentences that, you know, they're not going to want to have to deal with. They're going to turn on each other. Okay. So that's another thing that she's bringing up, right? That is going to happen. She wants to put that out there, but I feel like she's not trying to give too many details, because she's still very protective of the information, of who gets what information, because some of the information she feels like if it gets out, it could quite jeopardize certain situations, certain things. How it's almost like giving somebody a heads up when you don't need to, right? That's how she's explaining it to me. Okay. Another thing, she is acknowledging every single person who stepped up on her behalf. She's bringing that up again. Everyone who's keeping her story on the airways, who's keeping it relevant, who's talking about it, who's basically bringing it up with the intention of getting her justice. She's acknowledging you. She's saying thank you. All right. She hears all the prayers. All right. I'm being told she hears all the prayers. She feels all the prayers. And they do help. They help her out tremendously. So, and they make a huge difference, is what I'm being told. They almost like sort of lift her up energetically. I don't know how to, but it's this, I'm seeing like the energy of her raising her higher, right? So if you are able to pray, if you are a person who prays, please do pray for her. If you've already been praying for her, please continue to do so. It makes a huge difference, all right? I'm also being told to, like, she's also acknowledging that she hears the birthday wishes, the moments being brought up, like if you had a memory with her and you're bringing that up, or you're thinking about it, like, she can feel that, she can sense that. Okay. What else? I'm also hearing like she hears like something about anniversary or birthday wishes. Like, she hears that, like, those wishes, like, I don't know if someone like says happy anniversary or happy birthday or stuff like that, but she hears that and she's acknowledging it, and she's very, you know, grateful and thankful for it, and she feels that. It warms her heart. Okay. What else? There is another thing she wanted to bring up, and I thought she was bringing it up for me at first, because, you know, we as human beings tend to think that everything is about us, but really it's not most of the time. But like, on the spiritual side of things, she's still not comfortable with readings, right? When she has important information or important messages, you know, that won't jeopardize her case, that she feels like she can share, she's gonna come through, and she's gonna share it with who she feels she needs to share it with. Whether it's through a dream, whether it's through another, you know, messenger like myself, or however she feels it needs to be. Like, they have influence on the other side. They can influence things. They can nudge people in the right direction. They can, you know, when you're close to something, it's almost like when you're on the money on something and you feel like chills, or you feel like, oh, okay, I think this is it, and then you're like, I don't know, but then they'll put in the energy into your head that, yeah, you're right, you're on the money. Like, they can do stuff like that. Okay. But however, she doesn't feel very comfortable with. I'm trying to figure out how to say, because you notice I'm not using any cards. She's not comfortable with cards. She really, there's somebody, I don't know who this is, that uses I don't know, I can't say this word, I think it's a Ouija board? I can't even say it, Lord. Okay, but yeah, she's not comfortable with that. And also, she's like, she's saying that that's not her coming through with the Ouija board. Like, whoever they're summoning or channeling, that's not her. So she's saying, don't do that, or be careful with that if you're going to do that, because that's not her, and she's not comfortable with anything like that to even partake in any way, shape, or form with that. Okay. What else? Let's see. Let me make sure I didn't leave anything out, because it was very early and I jotted down some few things that I didn't want to miss. I think that's it. I think that's it, you guys. But yeah, quick, short update on her case, on the information she's given me. Like I said again, I'm happy to help if she comes in and has any more information to share, has any more messages. I'm more than happy to, be that messenger for her, let her voice be heard. Again, we're always going to, on my side here, on my family side, we're always going to lift her up in prayer, pray for her loved ones, because loss is something, especially when someone was taken away from you in such a jarring way, loss isn't something you ever really get over, right? It's not, there are certain days where you're able to breathe easier, but there are other days where it's overwhelming pain. It's overwhelming grief. It's so much because you're thinking about everything you lost, every future memories, the future itself that you could have had with this person. So it's always going to be prayers on this side, and I encourage you guys to pray for her family, pray for her loved ones, and pray that her justice comes a lot swifter, because that's going to help her be more at peace. I do feel like, well, obviously she's crossed over, she's passed on, but there's different dimensions. There's the dimension that's closest to earth. It's the dimension where people who have passed on abruptly, people who are about to be born, they usually stick around on that dimension. But there's also another dimension where it's almost like I feel like it's the highest one from the way it's being explained to me. It's like the dimension where you enter God's light, where you sort of enter the light is what I'm being told. But it's not specifically a light. It's an energy. It's a feeling. But it's usually described as light. But it's God's light. But the more you guys pray for her, the closer she is to that. The more you guys pray for her, the closer she is to getting justice. The prayers do work. They do make a huge, huge dent in shifting the narrative and shifting the outcome. So please continue to pray for her. What else? But yeah, I think that's all the messages that she wants to share right now. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this. If I owe you a reading, it is coming soon. If you want to get your own personal reading with me, my information is on the description box down below. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the likes, the subscribes. Thank you for your patience, because I've been on the path of sort of doing more healing than doing readings or doing messages right now. So that's been where my energy's been shifted. But again, if I get anything that I feel like needs to be put out there, or that the spirit wants me to put out there, I will definitely put the messages out there. But I do appreciate you guys, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Take care.